What's up everybody? My name is Steven with UltraTrailSteven. Today I'm going to be talking about the Garmin Forerunner 230. Is it still worth it in 2020? Let's get to it. So, is the Garmin Forerunner 230 GPS watch still worth it in 2020? Yes, partly. Let me clarify. If you're new to running, don't care a lot about data metrics, and don't need a super long battery life, yes, absolutely, this watch is still worth it in 2020 or even in 2021. Locally, I can find the Garmin Forerunner 230 on the Facebook Marketplace for right around $70 to $75. And at that price point, yeah, it's a steal. If you're one of those people I talked about that doesn't need those types of things, then yes, pick it up. It's a great watch. Maybe even a first watch for a kid if they're getting into running. So in this video, I'm going to get into the pros, kind of like what I like about the watch, the cons, what I don't like about the watch, give you some insights into using the watch, and then what I think about it overall. So let's get right to it. Firstly, this thing is pretty accurate. As a road runner, this is a great watch. It's very accurate on the roads. I've never had any really erratic GPS tracks that take a crazy turn over here, or pretty consistently accurate, which is good. In dense trails, however, it's not as good. And I'll get to that into the cons. And second, this thing is a smartwatch. It can connect to your smartphone, give you text messages, emails, you can decline phone calls, answer phone calls, you can get calendar notifications on it, you can have all sorts of widgets like weather apps, things like that on the watch directly. So it has a lot of cool features in that regard. By the way, if you haven't already, I would appreciate if you would go ahead and give the video a thumbs up and click that subscribe button. It really helps the video and the channel continue to grow. And third is Bluetooth connectivity. You can pair it with an ANT+ sensor, you can pair it with Bluetooth sensors for heart rate straps. Many of the Bluetooth smart devices out there, for running like pods, things like that, can pair with this, which is really cool. And fourth, it syncs directly to your phone via Bluetooth fairly quickly, not as quickly as some of the newer watches. But another plus about this is you can then connect it straight to your computer through the USB cable. So if you don't have internet, you can connect it straight to your computer, transfer your data, and still take a look at it, which is a big plus. And it also pairs directly with Strava, so it can upload everything automatically. And another positive at number 5 is the battery cable. It's an awesome connection. It's just got this little pincher here. It slides right on the end, and it stays put. It's not like a lot of the newer magnetic ones. It has a really good connection and doesn't come loose, and you know when it's charging. Another plus about this is you can use this charger while you're using the watch and in a GPS activity. So if you're running a very long race, like an ultra marathon, you can take a battery pack, hook this to it, and you can actually keep it on your wrist while charging while you're using it. Because this fits right on the edge, you can put this in your vest, still on your wrist, and run. It works pretty well. I've used it myself personally. Another great thing about this watch and most GPS watches nowadays is it is waterproof. So if you're going to swim, you can use this watch. If you're going to be in a boat, if you're going to wash dishes, whatever, you don't have to worry about the watch. It's going to be safe. It's very easy to use as well. You can set it up fully customizable. You can change the displays that you have on the watch. You can change the watch face. You can really customize, and I'll get into that here in just a couple minutes. Lastly, it's a activity tracker, so it can track your steps, your calories, all sorts of things to give you like move alerts if it senses you've not been moving enough. And you can turn that off too, by the way, if you find that annoying, just like I do. So that's the pros. All right, now let's get right into the cons. And for the things I don't like about the watch, it's not that big of a list, honestly. For me personally, the biggest thing is the battery life. This thing will last for right at about 11 to 12 hours of constant GPS use before it needs to be connected to a charger. Like I said, you can charge it on the run though, which is nice. But for me, I want to be able to use the watch and not worry about it for 24, 30 hours if needed. But if you don't need that kind of battery life, then that's not a con for you at all then. And the other con for the Garmin Forerunner 230 is the GPS accuracy on trails. It's pretty good on most trails, but when you get into real dense areas, mountain trails, it has some inaccuracies. It doesn't give you an odd track too much, but it doesn't seem to track as accurately as other people's watches. I've run with plenty of people that have had Garmin 735s, 935s, 945s, Phoenix series watches, Coros, Suuntos, all of those. And this one always seemed to be a half a mile or more behind in distance, which isn't huge, but it's frustrating when you're comparing data. And elevation-wise as well, it didn't track as accurately on the trail because it doesn't have a built-in altimeter like some of the other watches. And finally, really the only other con that I can think of is the construction of the watch. It's just a plastic body on the watch. The screen is just, glass. It scratches fairly easy. I've got a couple of scratches on this watch, so what I would recommend is putting a screen protector on it to protect that just a little bit more, and that's what I had on it when I was wearing it. That's really it. This is an aftermarket band that we got. The other band wore out and cracked, honestly, because this is an old watch, but we could replace the bands. It was a little painstaking to do that with 2 different screws, but otherwise, the band is pretty comfortable too. Okay, so let's get right into how to use the watch. All right, so this watch is really easy to use. If you just hit this button right here, it takes you to your activity screens. You can select through the menu. Then you can go back by hitting the back button right here. And if you hit up, you can see the different activities. You got run indoor, bike, other. I've taken some of the other ones off the screen, but there are other activities. If you want to run, just select it with this. Okay, so now we're in the run screen. You can go look at the activity settings, check out the data screens. Screen 1, I've got 4 fields set up. You've got distance, heart rate, pace, and cadence. Other screen, you can have just 1, 2, 3 fields, or back to the 4 fields. You can turn on different alerts. You can put on a heart rate alert if paired with a sensor, a run, walk, pace, time, distance, calories, all sorts of different alerts, which is very customizable. You can have an auto lap, auto pause, auto scroll. If you select the training mode, you can then select intervals, set up your interval workout, click do workout, and it'll start it, which is really handy. And if you scroll through the different screens, you've got steps. It's not connected to my watch right now, but you can pair it with the calendar, the weather data, smart controls, and notifications like emails, text messages, things like that. And if you hold the up button, you can also then lock the device so that you can't unwillingly touch it and turn the screen or something like that. Okay, so final thoughts on the watch. Yes, I think it's still worth it to buy this. If you can find it used for under $80 and you don't need that long battery life, like I said, you don't care about some of the new metrics that are out there on the watches, then yeah, I would totally pick this thing up. Especially if you have kids that are just getting into running or you're just getting into running. Yeah, it's totally worth it in 2020 or 2021. So pick it up if you can find it. Well, I hope you found this video helpful. If so, I would appreciate it if you would give a thumbs up on the video. And also consider clicking that subscribe button if you have not already and join the team. It really helps the channel continue to grow. And then if you hit that bell notification and turn it on, you'll get notifications when I release future videos like this review or other reviews that I do as well. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one.